Before anyone sees them, they feel it. A deep vibration in the ground, growing stronger with every second. It rolls through the soil, through the steel hulls, through the bones of every man waiting in silence.
If you want more content like this, subscribe now and comment below.
The morning air on July 18th, 1944, hangs heavy over the Norman fields near Cagny, just east of Caen. There's a faint smell of dust and burnt fuel drifting from earlier shelling. British soldiers from the 2nd Armored Battalion, Irish Guards, sit inside their tanks, listening, not speaking. Then the radio crackles. A voice comes through, tight and controlled, but unmistakably tense. Panthers, a whole line of them. You can almost feel the shift in the air. Men who had been steady just moments ago now sit completely still, eyes locked forward. The British push that morning is part of Operation Goodwood, one of the largest armored offensives of the war. Hundreds of tanks had rolled forward at first light, crossing the open ground east of Caen. The earth had shaken under their weight, engines roaring in unison, confidence running high. For a brief moment, it had felt unstoppable. But now, hidden behind broken farmhouses and thick hedgerows, the German defense is waking up. And leading that defense are the Panthers of the 1st SS Panzer Division, experienced crews who have learned how to turn open ground into a trap. At approximately 8:15 a.m., the first clear sight comes through the periscope of a British tank commander. Long, sloped armor, wide tracks, that unmistakable turret shape. Panther tanks moving in formation, emerging from behind a tree line about 1,200 meters away. There are too many to count at first glance. Then the number settles in. 12. 12 Panthers advancing with discipline, their guns already angled toward the British line. Inside one particular tank, a Sherman Firefly named Velikie Luki, named after a Soviet victory. The crew feels the same cold realization. Unlike the standard Sherman, this Firefly carries the powerful 17-pounder gun, one of the few Allied weapons capable of destroying a Panther from the front at range. But even with that gun, this is not a fair fight. The Firefly has thinner armor. It's taller, easier to spot. And it's still just one tank, one Firefly facing 12 Panthers. The commander, Lieutenant John Gorman of the Irish Guards, grips his binoculars tightly. He is not new to combat, but moments like this never feel normal. His driver, Trooper William Bill Harris, keeps the engine idling low and trying not to draw attention. The gunner, Lance Corporal David Mitchell, is already adjusting his sights, breathing slow, steady. The loader, Trooper James Jim Brown, sits ready beside the ammunition racks, hands already resting on the next shell. Everyone inside knows the stakes. If they are spotted first, they won't survive the opening shot. The Panthers advance with confidence. German crews are well trained, and by mid-1944, they know their machines are superior in many ways. Their 75mm KWK 42L/70 guns can punch through most Allied armor at long distances. Their frontal armor is thick and well-angled. Their optics are sharp, allowing them to engage targets before being seen. They are built for exactly this kind of engagement. Open ground, clear lines of fire, a straight fight. But war rarely stays fair for long. The British formation has already taken losses earlier that morning. Several Shermans lie burning behind them, black smoke rising into the pale sky. Some crews have already bailed out. Others didn't get the chance. The ground is uneven, broken by small ridges, hedges, and scattered farm structures. Visibility shifts with every meter. And in this chaos, a single Firefly finds itself in a position no one planned for. Lieutenant Gorman watches the Panthers through his binoculars and counts again. 12. They are spreading slightly now, forming a loose line, each tank keeping distance to avoid becoming an easy target for artillery. Their movement is deliberate, almost calm. They are hunting. Range? Gorman asks quietly. About 1,100 meters, Mitchell replies, eyes fixed on the sight. Too far for a guaranteed kill. The 17-pounder is powerful, but at that distance, even it struggles against a Panther's angled front armor. They need to get closer, but moving means exposure, and exposure means death. Gorman makes a decision, not a safe one, not a cautious one, but the only one that might work. Driver, ease forward, keep us low, use the ridge. The Firefly begins to creep forward, its engine rumbling softly. Every second feels stretched. Every small movement feels too loud. The tank edges along a shallow dip in the ground, trying to stay hidden from the advancing Panthers. You can almost feel the tension inside that steel hull. The air is hot, thick with oil and sweat. No one speaks unless necessary. The radio crackles occasionally with fragmented messages from other units, but nothing clear. Around them, the battlefield is alive with distant explosions and the sharp cracks of anti-tank guns. Somewhere to the left, British artillery fires again, the deep boom echoing across the fields. At 900 meters, the Panthers begin to slow. One of them stops, turret rotating slowly, scanning. It's searching, hunting for movement, for a mistake. "Hold," Gorman whispers. The Firefly freezes. Seconds pass. Then more. The Panther's turret continues to sweep, then pauses, pointing slightly to the right of Gorman's position. It hasn't seen them. Not yet. "Closer," Gorman says. The Firefly inches forward again. At 800 meters, Mitchell adjusts his aim. The lead Panther is now clearly visible. Its side armor briefly exposed as it shifts position. That's the moment they need. "On target," Mitchell says, voice steady. Gorman doesn't hesitate. Fire. The 17-pounder roars, the recoil slamming through the tank. The shell streaks across the field and hits the Panther square in the side of its turret. A bright flash. Then thick black smoke bursts out. The tank shudders, then stops moving. One Panther down. But now the silence is broken. The remaining 11 Panthers react instantly. Turrets swing toward the source of the shot. Engines rev. The battlefield erupts into motion. "They've got us," Harris shouts. "Reverse, now," Gorman orders. The Firefly lurches backward, retreating into the shallow dip. A split second later, a German shell slams into the ground where they had been moments before, throwing up dirt and debris. Inside the tank, the crew feels the shock wave. Dust falls from the interior. The smell of burnt cordite fills the air. "Reload," Gorman calls. Mitchell is already at work, sliding another shell into the breach. Brown helps guide it in smoothly. Their movements are fast, but controlled. Training taking over. The Panthers are now fully engaged. 2 of them move forward aggressively, trying to flank. Others hold position, firing from range. Their coordination is clear. Each tank supports the others, covering angles, limiting exposure. Gorman knows they can't stay still. One hit from a Panther gun will likely destroy them. "Driver, left, use that hedge." The Firefly moves again, cutting across the uneven ground. Another German shell whistles past, dangerously close. The noise alone is enough to make your heart stop. At 700 meters, they find another brief opening. A Panther, slightly separated from the others, presents its side as it turns. "Target, right," Gorman shouts. "On," Mitchell replies. "Fire." The second shot hits clean. The Panther erupts in flame, its turret hatch blown open. 2 tanks down, but now the Germans are closing in. The remaining Panthers spread wider, trying to encircle. Their commanders are adapting quickly, using their numbers to pressure the single threat. Gorman feels the pressure building. They can't outgun 12 Panthers in a straight fight, but they can outthink them, use movement, use timing, use terrain. "Keep moving, never stop," he says. The Firefly weaves between small rises in the terrain, using every bit of cover. Each time they stop, it's only for a few seconds, just long enough to aim, just long enough to fire. A third shot, another hit. A Panther disabled, smoke pouring from its engine deck. 3 down. But the cost is rising. Nearby, another British Sherman is hit and explodes, its turret blown off in a violent blast. The shock ripples through the ground. The Firefly crew feels it, even from a distance. Burning fuel spreads across the grass. "Bloody hell," Harris mutters. There's no time to think about it. A Panther suddenly appears closer than expected, emerging from behind a farmhouse at less than 500 meters. Its gun swings toward them. "Contact front," Mitchell shouts. "Fire," Gorman orders immediately. The shot is rushed, but it hits. The Panther's tracks are blown apart. It grinds to a halt, but its gun is still operational. "Again," Gorman yells. Before Mitchell can fire, the Panther shoots. The shell slams into the ground just meters from the Firefly, showering it with dirt and debris. The impact rattles the crew violently. "Reverse! Reverse!" Gorman shouts. The Firefly backs up, barely avoiding a second shot. Inside, the tension is almost unbearable. Every man knows they are one mistake away from death. Sweat drips down their faces, hands tighten on controls and equipment. They reposition again, moving behind a thicker hedge line. For a moment, they are out of sight. "Ammo?" Gorman asks. "Still good, but not endless," Mitchell replies. "Each shell is heavy. Each shot must count." Outside, the battle continues to rage. The Panthers are now more cautious. They've lost several tanks, and they know they are facing something dangerous, something precise, something that hits and disappears. A single Firefly. At around 8:40 a.m., the engagement reaches its peak. The remaining Panthers, now reduced to about 7 operational tanks, attempt a coordinated push. They move forward together, guns ready, on trying to overwhelm the British position. Gorman watches them through his binoculars. This is it. The moment everything comes down to... "Steady," he says quietly. The Firefly holds its position, partially concealed behind the hedge. The Panthers advance to within 600 meters. "Wait," Gorman whispers. 500 meters. Wait. 450 meters. Now, fire! The shot hits the lead Panther square in the glacis plate. This time, the angle works in their favor. The shell penetrates. The tank bursts into flames. 6 Panthers remain. But now they are fully aware, fully focused. Multiple guns turn toward the Firefly's position. "Move!" Gorman shouts. The Firefly darts out from behind cover, racing across the field. Shells chase it, slamming into the ground around it. The noise is overwhelming. Explosions, engine roars, the constant crack of gunfire. You can almost feel the chaos, the confusion, the raw, immediate danger. Another shot, another Panther disabled. 5 left. But the Firefly takes a hit. Not a direct penetration, but a glancing blow that dents the armor and shakes the crew violently. "Everyone all right?" Gorman asks quickly. "Still here," Harris replies, voice strained. The tank keeps moving. At this point, the battlefield is a mess of smoke, fire, and wreckage. Visibility is poor. Both sides are struggling to keep track of each other. Dust clouds rise with every movement, making shapes appear and disappear. And in that confusion, the Firefly finds another opportunity. A Panther, partially hidden, exposes its rear as it maneuvers. "Target rear," Mitchell calls. "Take it." The shot lands perfectly. The Panther erupts. 4 left. The remaining German tanks begin to pull back slightly, regrouping. They are no longer advancing aggressively. The unexpected resistance has shaken them. Their formation is broken. Their confidence is fading. But the fight isn't over. Gorman knows they can't let the Panthers reorganize. If they do, the advantage will shift back. "Push forward," he orders. The Firefly advances cautiously, using the smoke as cover. In those final minutes, something shifts in the rhythm of the battle. The Panthers are no longer hunting. They are reacting. They are cautious now, slower, more defensive. At around 9 a.m., after nearly 45 minutes of intense combat, the situation changes. Reinforcements from other British units begin to arrive. More Shermans, anti-tank guns being brought into position, artillery support increasing. The Panthers, now reduced and under increasing pressure, begin to withdraw. The Firefly doesn't chase. It holds position, watching as the remaining German tanks disappear behind the tree line. The battlefield falls into a strange, uneasy quiet. Burning wrecks dot the field. Smoke rises in thick columns. The ground is scarred and broken. Pieces of metal, shattered tracks, and scattered equipment lie everywhere. Inside the Firefly, the crew sits in silence for a moment. The adrenaline is still there, but the immediate danger has passed. No one speaks right away. Gorman finally exhales. "Count them," he says. Mitchell looks out through the sight, scanning the field slowly, carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Panthers destroyed or disabled, from 12. By 1 Firefly, moving constantly, striking at the right moments, never staying still long enough to be an easy target. It's not just luck, it's training, discipline, timing, the ability to read the battlefield and act without hesitation. And something else, the quiet understanding between a crew that trusts each other completely. Later reports would piece together the details of that engagement near Cagny. The numbers, the positions, the timings. Historians would debate the exact sequence of events, the exact number of kills, the role of supporting units. But one thing remains clear. On that morning, in the middle of Operation Goodwood, when 12 Panther tanks advanced with confidence, expecting to dominate the battlefield, they were met by something they didn't expect. A single Sherman Firefly, not invincible, not indestructible, just one tank with a crew that refused to back down. And in those 45 minutes, everything changed. You can almost still see it if you stand there today. The open fields of Normandy, quiet now, green and peaceful. No sound of engines, no gunfire, just wind moving through the grass. But if you listen closely, you can imagine that moment. The deep vibration in the ground, the sudden crack of the first shot, the chaos that followed. And somewhere in that chaos, a single tank moving through smoke and fire, turning the tide of a fight that should have been impossible to win. That's how battles are remembered, not always by numbers, not always by plans, but by moments like this, moments where everything comes down to one decision, one shot, one crew inside a steel box, facing something much larger than themselves, and choosing to fight anyway.
If you want more content like this, subscribe now and comment below.